The night hummed with static and withheld truth. Elara stood by the glass, city lights bleeding into her reflection, like bruised colors. Noah's voice, once honey smooth, now carried edges she couldn't name. "You're overthinking it," he said, smiling too easily, as if the words had been rehearsed. Her chest tightened, not from fear, but from knowing she'd already lost the answer before asking the question. Outside, thunder rolled through the skyline, scattering lightning across her eyes. For a heartbeat, another figure shimmered in the glass. Not Noah, not her, but something caught between memory and warning. She blinked, and it vanished. Maybe paranoia was just love in its final form, the kind that sees what comfort refuses to. Warning breaks without color. The air feels used, as if it already knows the arguments waiting to be spoken. Elara stands in the kitchen, staring at the untouched mug he left behind. Noah hums softly in the next room, a tune she doesn't recognize. Every sound feels like proof of something she can't name yet. The phone vibrates, once on the table, face down, and she watches it like it might breathe. It's strange how the smallest things can haunt louder than the truth itself. Maybe trust doesn't shatter in one moment. Maybe it dies quietly, under the weight of ordinary mornings. He says her name like an apology, soft and practiced. Elara turns, a smile ready, but dying halfway. "Don't do that," she says, voice barely holding its shape. He tilts his head, feigning confusion. The moment stretches thin, trembling between silence and confession. In that breathless stillness, she realizes that love and lies share the same tone. You only notice the difference once it's too late. Later that day, Elara sits in her dark room, developing photographs. The chemicals hiss softly, the red light flickering like a heartbeat. But one print stops her. A picture of Noah she took last week, and yet there's another figure behind him, faded, watching. She breathes out sharply. Maybe the camera sees what the heart denies. Night again. The city murmurs outside, unaware of her unraveling. Noah leaps beside her, chest rising in calm betrayal. Elara lies awake, watching the foam glow on his nightstand. Every vibration feels like a confession whispered through glass. She doesn't move, only listens, memorizing the rhythm of deceit. Somewhere between the heartbeats, she decides she will look. Sleep arrives like a thief. Elara drifts between breaths, and the city dissolves into water. She dreams of Noah's hands, but they're colder now, moving through fog that smells of rain and ink. A phone rings somewhere distant, a sound that echoes inside her ribs. When she answers, the voice isn't his. It's lower, rougher, someone who knows her name too well. "You've already seen it," the voice says. She wakes gasping, the sound of her own heart louder than the storm outside. The clock blinks 3 a.m. Noah sleeps undisturbed beside her, his arm heavy across her waist. But the air feels wrong, stretched thin. She looks toward the dresser and sees it. A second phone, glowing faintly in the dark, pulsing like a secret heartbeat. Morning spills through thin curtains, pale and indifferent. Elara stares at the second phone she found beneath a folded shirt in the drawer. Its screen glows with unread messages from MM. Each one a whisper she never heard. Each timestamp another lie she unknowingly lived. Noah's voice calls from the kitchen. Casual, loving, practiced. She can't tell if the tremor in her hands is fear or clarity. The truth has a temperature, she realizes. Cold, exact, irreversible. She opens her photo editor that afternoon to distract herself. But the images rebel. Every picture she took of Noah this past month now shows something new. An extra hand on his shoulder, a shadow beside him, a reflection where none should be. In the glass of every frame, someone watches her back. She shuts the laptop, breath trembling. The walls seem to hum. What if her photographs are remembering what her heart forgot? When he walks in that evening, his smile feels rehearsed again. She's learned to count the seconds between his lies. 1 heartbeat for each. I found it. She says simply, a stills, hands in pockets, eyes unreadably. Found what? He asks, but his voice breaks on the last word. The silence that follows is not empty. It's full, thick, alive. For the first time, she's not the one afraid of what comes next. Later that night, Ilara stares into the bathroom mirror. The storm outside mirrors her pulse. She whispers his name once, and another voice answers back. Not from the room, but from within the reflection. Isn't who you think, it murmurs. Her reflection smiles half a second too late. The power flickers, plunging her into darkness. When the lights return, the reflection lingers a heartbeat longer than she does. The second phone won't stop ringing. It hums on the table, vibrating like a trapped heartbeat. Noah's gone. He left after midnight, saying he needed air. Ilara stares at the device, the name, M, pulsing, on its dark glass. She hesitates, then answers. The voice that spills through isn't a woman's. It's low, velvety, and achingly familiar. Like her dreams speaking aloud. You already know me, it says. The call ends with a sound that isn't static, but breathing. Her own. When she looks up, her reflection in the window mouths a word she hasn't spoken. Run. Up. By morning, Noah's key turns in the door like a verdict. Ilara doesn't move. He looks tired or guilty, which is the same shape. You're pale, he says, as if worry can rewrite lies. Where were you? She asks, her tone quiet, surgical. He exhales, runs a hand through his hair. Ilara, you need sleep. You're seeing things. The phone lies on the counter between them like a loaded weapon. She almost laughs. Seeing things? Maybe. But things are finally seeing her back. Later, while Noah showers, Ilara opens the phone again. Dozens of unsent drafts appear. Messages he wrote but never sent to, each begins the same way. He can't keep lying to her. The rest cut off mid-sentence. In the drafts folder, one more waits. Addressed not to EME, but to LR. Her pulse stumbles. She opens it. A single line reads, "If you ever find this, it's already too late." That night, she dreams of a field flooded with moonlight. Noah stands there, but when he turns, his eyes are mirrors. From the reflection, another man steps forward, taller, darker, his face the echo of Noah's but sharper, colder, alive with impossible familiarity. Cassian, the name blooms in her mind like deja vu. As smiles without warmth. Now you see me, he whispers. When she wakes, there's mud on her feet. Ilara jolts awakey. gasping, heart hammering against the sheets. The city outside is still, too still. She stumbles to the window, searching for the skyline, but it's gone. The reflection looking back at her isn't her own. Cassian's face watches from the glass, patient. You called me, he says, though his lips don't move. Now you must choose what's real. Behind her, Noah stirs, whispering her name in his sleep. Two voices, one heartbeat, a decision forming in the silence. The air felt wrong before the knock came. Elara froze mid-breath. Noah sat across the room, typing, pretending not to notice. But the door moved, slowly, quietly, unlocking without a hand. Rain spilled light through the gap. And there he was. The man from her dream, solid now, eyes of silver and sorrow. Cassian. He stepped inside like someone remembering a place they once lived. You called me, he murmured, gaze flicking between her and Noah. For the first time, Noah's confidence faltered. Elara's heart stuttered. Some truths don't need words. They arrive in human form. Cassian's voice carried thunder inside it. You asked what he hides, he said. But you never asked why. Noah rose slowly, face paling, and Elara felt the air fold around them. The two men looked alike now. Not identical, but mirrored. Same eyes, same half-smile. Her breath caught. One of them was real, the other memory wearing flesh. Which of us did you love, Elara? Cassian asked, not cruelly, but as if the answer could save him. She couldn't tell. She wasn't sure she ever could. Noah's voice trembled now. The calm veneer cracked. He's not real, he said, pointing toward Cassian. He's a projection. You made him. Cassian laughed softly, the sound deep and human. If I'm her creation, he said. Why do you fear me? Elara stepped back. The second phone on the table vibrated, flashing between both men's reflections on its screen, as if it couldn't choose which belonged to truth. For a fleeting instant, both reached for her. She flinched. The screen shattered. Elara fell to her knees, breath hitching. Stop, she whispered, but neither moved. Cassian's tone softened. He borrowed my face to make you love him. Noah shook his head, desperate. He's lying? I'm real, Elara. He's the echo of your doubt. She pressed her palms to her temples as the world pulsed between realities. The room splitting, folding, reforming. In one flash, she stood beside Noah. In the next, beside Cassian. Each heartbeat rewrote time. Love, she realized, is just a choice made over and over until it isn't. The building trembled. Lights flickered. The phones, both of them, rang at once, overlapping like twin heartbeats. Elara screamed, soundless in the static storm. Cassian moved first, pulling her back as Noah reached forward. The world bent, collapsing into pure white. And then silence. She opened her eyes to find herself alone in the apartment. Both phones lay side by side on the floor, screens black. In the window's reflection stood three silhouettes. Hers, Noah's, and Cassian's, all holding still, waiting for her to decide which one she'd become. The morning comes quietly, too quietly. The air holds its breath, as though the world itself is afraid to move. Elara wakes on the floor, surrounded by shards of glass, the two phones side by side like black mirrors. The storm outside has gone, leaving only the whisper of dripping water and the low hum of the refrigerator. She can't tell how long she's been lying there. When she finally stands, her reflection doesn't rise with her. It stays kneeling, watching. Somewhere in her chest, something small and human begins to crack, not from fear, but from knowing she can never unsee the truth. The phones light up at once, vibrating across the glass like restless hearts. Elara hesitates before touching either. A voice breaks through. Cassian's, but distant, like wind pressed through metal. "You can't save him, Elara? He's already gone." Her throat tightens. "Then, why are you still here?" she whispers. Silence follows, until Noah's voice cuts through next, raw pleading. "Don't listen to him." Two voices, two truths. Her name, torn between them, becomes an invocation, a tether pulling her in opposite directions. Elara begins sorting through her photographs again. One by one, they change as she touches them. Images of Noah dissolve into Cassian's silhouette. Others reverse, as if the film is remembering differently each time. Her own face sometimes disappears entirely, replaced by an empty outline of light. When she looks up, the walls around her pulse faintly, breathing, alive. The apartment remembers every lie spoken within it. When Noah finally returns, the world inside her breaks cleanly. He stands in the doorway, eyes wide, as if seeing her for the first time, or perhaps the last. "Elara," A whispers, "What have you done?" She turns slowly, holding both phones. "You taught me to look for the truth," she says softly. "And I did." Behind him, the air bends, Cassian's form emerging from shadow. The walls pulse once more. "You can't keep both," Cassian says. "You must choose." She smiles faintly. "Who said I wanted either?" The phones begin to vibrate violently, light spilling from their screens like liquid fire. Noah reaches for her. Cassian calls her name. And Elara, calm now, lifts both hands. The devices crash together in her grip. A flash, a soundless explosion. When it fades, there's nothing but silence and falling glass. She stands alone in a room stripped of reflection. Her voice breaks the quiet. Maybe love was never about who was real. Maybe it was about who stayed. And in the glass shards at her feet, only her own reflection remains. Silence hums, in strange ways, after destruction. Elara walks barefoot through the apartment, now a skeleton of light and echoes. Every mirror reflects a slightly different version of her. One smiling faintly, another crying, one whispering words she can't hear. The air smells of rain and burnt electricity. She feels Cassian's presence without seeing him, the warmth of someone who isn't there. When she passes the hallway mirror, it speaks in her voice. "You didn't destroy them. You only opened the door." Her pulse slows, steady and brave. Maybe this is what truth feels like. Not peace, but absence. When she finally dares to look again, Cassian stands before her, real, solid, more vivid than before. The room doesn't reject him this time. He moves closer, his silver eyes softer, his voice no longer thunder, but rain. You broke the lie, he says. Now the truth will stay. She searches his face for malice and finds none. Are you real? She asks. He smiles. A cute human curve of the mouth. I'm as real as what you chose to believe. The mirrors hum faintly behind them, whispering her name in unison. A phone rings again. Not the ones she broke, but the echo of one. The sound comes from nowhere, and then Noah's reflection appears in the largest mirror, faint, smiling like he used to. Elara, he whispers, I never meant to hurt you. She walks closer, hand trembling over the glass. Then why did you? She asks softly. He looks down, voice breaking. Because I was afraid you'd see me the way you do now. His image flickers once, twice, and vanishes, leaving only her reflection. Eyes wet, but steady. Forgiveness feels like a wound that finally stops bleeding. Elara follows a corridor that didn't exist before. Each wall is a mirror, each step repeating infinitely. She sees versions of herself, one holding Noah's hand, another standing with Cassian, another utterly alone. These are all your endings, Cassian says from behind her, every one of them true, depending on where you stop walking. She pauses, staring at the reflection that looks happiest. Herself, alone, camera in hand, facing dawn. Then, I'll stop there. She whispers and steps forward. The mirror ripples like water and lets her through. At the corridor's end waits a single mirror, dark, still, and silent. Cassian stops behind her. If you walk through, you leave this world, he says gently. But if you stay, you'll live in all of them. Elara looks back at him. Her eyes full of the storm and the calm it left behind. Done living in echoes, she says. He nods, understanding, and fades like mist at sunrise. She steps through the glass. Light bursts like breath held too long. And when it fades, she's standing in her apartment again, whole, alone, and finally free. The world is quiet now. The rain has stopped, and the city hums beneath her window like something slowly remembering to breathe. Elara stands in her apartment, every surface washed clean of reflection, no mirrors, no shadows that move on their own. Just the soft sound of life beginning again. She makes coffee without trembling hands. Outside, the sunrise burns through a veil of mist, painting gold on her skin. It's strange, she thinks, how peace feels so small, like a whisper after years of thunder. She glances at the space where the mirror used to be and smiles. The silence no longer frightens her. Her phone rings once, just once, and stops. The number is blank, unreadable. She answers anyway. Nothing but static. And then a single heartbeat's worth of silence before a voice she almost recognizes whispers. Thank you. The call cuts. She exhales slowly, setting the phone down. Maybe it was Cassian, maybe Noah, or maybe the part of herself that finally found a voice. Either way, the quiet that follows feels like closure, not loss. Later, she develops her last photograph, one she doesn't remember taking. It's of her sitting by the window, camera on her lap, morning light falling across her face. No Noah, No Cassian. Just her. For the first time, the image doesn't change when she blinks. It stays steady, whole. She pins it to the wall and steps back. The frame catches the sunlight perfectly, as if the world itself agrees. This is what remains after everything else fades. The self that survived. That evening, Elara steps outside for the first time in weeks. The streets shimmer from recent rain, reflections rippling beneath her feet. She doesn't look for faces in the glass anymore. The world feels lighter, her steps unburdened. She passes a cafe where a man with silver eyes reads by the window. Their gazes meet, brief, kind, wordless. He nods once. She smiles, not in recognition, but in acceptance. Some stories don't end. They simply stop needing to be retold. Night returns softly, wrapping the city in blue and quiet. Elara stands once more by her window, no reflection this time, just the endless dark beyond. She closes her eyes, hearing her own voice echo inside her chest, steady and sure. You were never overthinking it. You were just feeling what truth feels like before it speaks. The stars blink faintly through the haze, one after another, until the sky feels alive again. She lifts her camera, aims it toward the horizon, and presses the shutter, capturing not a moment, but the promise that she's finally free.